So he put bits of gold in my face in the middle of a melon patch, and then basically read our minds or went off into the astral and told us all about it. The story of the Javanese shaman. Welcome to Paranormal TV. I'm Guy and
I'm Louie.
And we talk about the strange, weird UFOs, occult stuff, paranormal, poltergeists, missing persons, and the whole shebang of weird and paranormal things. The past videos have been stuff that's happened to us personally when we lived in a haunted house, and some of our ghost experiences, and some of the photos and footage that we've archived over the last 10 years. The previous video was about our Mothman sighting, well, Louie's Mothman sighting, when we were in the jungles of Java. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Shaman, or the Dukun, as they are known, as the local healers and herbal medicine men that live in Java and talk to spirits and act as clairvoyants and psychics.
Very strange, unusual men.
Yeah, so after having our Mothman experience, our friend and tour guide Harry in Java, we were talking about some of the strange and paranormal stories that had happened to him, because he also has an avid interest in the weird, and he follows Islam, so he likes to talk about the jinn. And he did tell me just a quick story, whereas I said, have you ever seen any of these things? He said, yeah. He said he got some occult ritual from a Dukun, or a shaman, on how to win the lotto, and him and his mate, they were just fucking around, and they went into a cemetery and started to recite these magic words in Arabic. That's not his native tongue, but most people who follow Islam can speak both Arabic and their native tongue. But Harry also speaks English and Japanese.
And in Bahasa,
Javanese,
and Balinese, and...
But anyway, he goes to the cemetery and he does this occult ritual, and he said some big creepy long tall dark figure appeared to him and his mate, and they both lost their bowels and ran.
Yeah, from memory I think he also said that this thing had sort of been appearing to him ever since, every now and then as well. Would show up in his room and things like that at night. So yeah, don't go to graveyards and start fucking around in them, because
unless you know what you're really doing,
you'll end up with something.
But hell,
but anyway,
just learn the spiritual kung fu first, but then go do it and have an amazing life. So yeah, the reason we were going to see this shaman was Harry had told me about this magical dagger that they have in the Balinese and Javanese culture, known as a kris, which is basically a long sword that is made of meteor, nickel and iron, and inhabited by a spirit. And when the magic words are said, the blade will not only stand on its tip, but if you're really advanced as a magician shaman, that it would levitate and rotate, and you could even go into a trance and communicate with the spirit that is imprisoned in the blade. And I'm going to show you one in another video, because we've got heaps of stories and they're absolutely awesome.
Just a bit of history though on the kris as well. It was used as a weapon of war. It's quite nasty the way that people were killed with this weapon. So it's a blade so long, so to speak. What they would do is they would get you to kneel down on your knees. They would place a bit of cotton behind your neck with the blade over it, and then it would be rammed down through your spinal column, down into your heart to pierce your heart, And then the cotton was when they pulled it back out, it would come out clean without your blood on it.
This would go in and penetrate all your organs while severing your spinal cord.
Yeah, it was a very, very nasty weapon. So, and a lot of these ones that we do have been used in some wars. So,
and other things.
There's a lot of blood on them.
But that's for another video.
Anyway.
So so this is the shaman's house, and there's a rice field, and there was a melon patch, and it took us about 4 hours on the back of a motorbike to get to this little place in the middle of nowhere, and that's how he liked it. He liked to live there, and when we got there, it looks nice on the outside, but there was chickens running through the place. He did have a TV set, but the guy was the Dukun was a magician, and that's what he did.
Yes.
So what happened next was, after some introductions and stuff, he did a healing, an energetic healing on us both, because this is, if you can imagine, the conversation going between us two, and then having to talk to Harry, who would then translate it into the native tongue to the shaman, and he would speak back, and it was quite involved, and one of the rituals that you can pay to do, and it's not expensive. I think it cost us $10,
something like that. Yeah.
And they get tiny pieces of wire, like about the thickness of the small G string on an electric guitar, the bottom thin one, and they're chopped in little bits about a centimetre or
probably half a centimetre long.
Yeah, and they put them in water, and probably not the cleanest, but the water was clean. But then some prayers are said over the water to make it magic. And then he proceeded to pick them up with his fingernails and then push them into my face. So I've got a couple of pieces up here, some in my cheeks. There was two under here. One actually got caught and got pulled out when I was having a shave. It might have been that side, because that one I can feel a lump. And the weirdest thing is, I had to go and have a tooth replaced at the dentist, and I went to a holistic dentist because I'd had a whole lot of problems with this tooth. And long story short, after years of originally getting a crack in the tooth, then an abscess, then root canal, then I went to see a bad dentist who put a cap on it and made it worse, gave me headaches and that kind of thing. I had read up, if ever you need your tooth done, just go get it pulled out and go and get a ceramic implant. It's the best way to handle it. You don't want titanium with the electrical stuff going on in your mouth. And I had an x-ray done, and the dentist, being a holistic dentist, said there's some anomaly in the x-rays. And I don't know if I got him the x-rays to show you, but there were these like gold. I told him the story. I said, look, you're a pretty open-minded kind of guy. I told him the story of what happened with this shaman in the melon patch. And you had it done too, didn't you?
I had the 3 in, I think 2 in my forehead, but that was it.
Yeah. So why would one want to spend $10 and have bits of gold wire stuck in your facial tissue? The magic ritual that goes with it is to help with your charismatic image, and the one near your mouth is so that you can, how did Harry describe it, speak sweet things, and then there's charisma over the eyes and the face, and it also keeps you young looking. I don't know, I'm 50 something, how am I doing? So yeah, after the gold was inserted into our faces, we then wanted to see the Chris levitate. And so Harry is speaking in his language to the shaman. And then the shaman responded with, I have no energy left. I've used it all up in this ritual. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking maybe he can't really make the blade levitate. So Harry then explains to him how we have an avid interest in the occult and paranormal and the jinn and the spirits and the angels and demons and all this sort of stuff. So he replies to Harry and says, "Show me something." And I'm like, "Oh my god, like what am I going to do? Summon a spirit in front of this guy? I don't even know if I can do it. I still struggle to do it." But prior to traveling to Java, I got to tell you about the Reiki experience and how this joins up. So there was a time I was going through a pretty heavy time in my life, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, you should totally get some Reiki." And this was about the time when I was living in the haunted house, and didn't really have an avid knowledge of all these sorts of things like Reiki. And I said to this buddy, "What the hell is Reiki?" And he said, "Oh, it's like a spiritual hands-on technique, da da da. I know a guy, da da da." And that's all as far as it went. But then, because we were DJing in Sydney at the time, we never actually did anything. Our whole life was spent either watching movies late at night or going and DJing, because that was the weekend. Because by the time you woke up after your Friday night gig the next day, you're waking up at 3 in the afternoon. And there was a point I said, I'm sick. It's like, this is all we do. We don't do anything. We're living up on the Central Coast, which is about an hour's drive from Sydney when there's no traffic. So we decided that we would get up early and go to Darling Harbour. And when we got there, there was a Mind Body Spirit festival on. And I said, I'm open-minded. Let's go and check this out. But by the time we got there, I think it was about 4 o'clock when we got inside, and it was about to close up. But one of the first places that we saw was this big tent, this big Reiki tent. And it was all decked out in purple and the big words Reiki in it. And we went over and saw the guy. And I inquired about Reiki, and I said to Louis, that's the stuff that my mate was saying. I didn't know what it was. And he says, $20, 20 minutes. And I said, "Oh, can you do 10 minutes? We still want to check the place out and have a look around." He goes, "Yeah, okay, I'll give you a high-powered version." So him and his partner, they then said, "Put your hands like this and just shut your eyes." And they were doing some stuff. I could feel some movement around me. And then all of a sudden I had what would be like an out-of-body experience. And I saw these coloured lights and like this rainbow type effect. I then, after some time, I don't know how much time had gone past, but I'd snapped out of it. And he's come up to me, he says, "Hey buddy, you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "So what did you experience?" And I started to reveal the story of the coloured light, and then he thrusts this in front of me, if I get it the right way around, and it says, "Like that?" And I went, "Holy hell! How did you know?" He says, "Well, I've been there too." And trying to keep the long story short, the next day I had some warts heal over, and I'd had some problems with my knee and my shoulder, and all these problems had went away. And when you're walking around these things, you could grab some brochures and I got to ring this guy up. This guy's like Jesus. And I rang him up, and maybe I'll reveal his details in another video, but I haven't contacted him about this, so he doesn't know. We then went on to study Reiki to about 3 levels. He is a 7-level master, this particular guy in Sydney. And then Louis was really good at it. We don't really do it anymore, but she had healed a mate of mine who had photocopy burns. I don't know if you believe it or not, but it's true. Moving back to the Java story. So when this Dukun, Shaman fellow says, "All right, can you now do some magic for me?" I said to Louis, do some Reiki on him, because I don't know what we're going to do here. He's going to like put us on the spot, like we put him on the spot with the levitating Chris. So she performs the Reiki ritual thing with the symbols, And this guy he's gone. He's left the building. And after some time, he comes back and his eyes are glazed like this. And he starts jabbering on about da 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 in this language that we don't understand to Harry. And Harry then turns to us and he says, yes, he knows about this. He said it was discovered by a Japanese man who walked up a mountain and meditated and had a vision of the right order of the Tibetan scripts, and this he goes on to tell the whole story of
The history behind Reiki.
the history behind Reiki.
Yeah, and how it was discovered. Yeah.
And I said to Harry, I said, Did you tell him this story? Did I tell you this story? You told him the story? He goes, no. I said, did someone else tell him the story? He said, no. He said, when he was receiving the Reiki healing, he left his body and went into the, what would be known as the akashic records, and then knew all about it when he came back. And
yeah, obtained the information in a trance state.
he had obtained the information in a trance state, which to this day just blows my mind.
Yeah. Another strange thing about this particular gentleman, just quickly, while we were there, he became very animated to Harry, and it was replayed back to us through Harry that this guy had discovered some form of fossil on his property. He said it was extremely unusual. It was very humanoid, but it had an elongated skull, but it didn't look human. But it was humanoid-ish. But he couldn't describe it. And like I said, have you got a photo that we can have a look at? He actually doesn't. He said every time he tries to take a photo that something blocks out the photo, so he can't actually get a photo of this fossil. So then he asked us what we can do about it. So we were due to come back to Australia in a couple of days, and I'd said to Harry that maybe if he can try and get a photo between now and then to send it through to us, so we could probably forward it on to the right people to see whether they would be interested into excavating this fossil that had been found. So over the next couple of days we're on to Harry, and we're trying to get him to explain what this fossil was, whether this guy could get a picture eventually or finally. We wanted to go back next time we were in Bali to take photos of it, but unfortunately the shaman basically hasn't been heard of ever since we spoke to him, so I'm not sure what happened. But that would be something very interesting to see. Would be a very old humanoid fossil with an elongated skull dug up in the middle of a melon patch in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. It's a shame that we couldn't get any photos of it, and a shame that we couldn't take this any further. But unfortunately, yeah, it is what it is, and whatever's happened has happened, and we're unable to contact this shaman anymore. So if anyone knows anything about fossils or what this could be, please put it in the comments. That would be great. We're still trying to find answers, even though we don't really have contact with this shaman anymore. We'd still like to know. It
was like 10 years ago. It was about 2009.
Yeah, we're still interested though to know if anyone has seen something similar to this, what it would be, since we didn't get to really see it. But it'd be very interested if anyone's ever experienced something like this or found something very similar, and would let us know what the discovery was.
There's some speculation over the elongated skulls, and that's for another video. There's statues of Nefertiti, or busts of Nefertiti, in the British Museum, and she apparently had an elongated skull. And I know through some Asian cultures that in the past they used to bind the baby's head with bandages to emulate that elongated head.
So basically,
look.
It would make the bone grow deformed as the child was
Yeah,
growing.
it was a kind of a thing because, dating back to ancient royalty like the Egyptians, who actually did have heads shaped like that. Now, one could speculate, are we the creation of an alien race mixing DNA with monkeys. Yeah, look, I'm not saying our forefathers were aliens,
But they were aliens.
but maybe they were.
Yes.
So on that note, I think we'll wrap it up and look forward to talking to you guys again about our next paranormal event and story. If you like being told awesome stories about the weird, strange UFOs and paranormal and poltergeists and all that kind of stuff, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the shit out of this video. Yeah, do that. Click it and share it.
Bye for now, guys.
See ya.
See ya.